Welcome back, guys, where it is wonderful, just lovely being you, okay? Of course, the story begins where the child goes to the podium. They're in Sunday school class. And the minister says to the little girl, "Do you have a question?" And the little girl says, "Yes." She puts her hand down and she says, "I just want to know, what does it mean when you say, 'Do unto others as you would have done unto you,' when every time people do things to you all the time and they hurt you and nobody does anything?" And the minister said, "God sees all, child. God sees all." Now let's fast forward. That little girl is now a woman, and she's in a family. She has an aunt, Shirley Jenkins. And her Aunt Shirley, when she's giving her a bath, she tries to drown her in the tub. And when she tries to drown the child in the tub, she loses her balance and she falls. The child has to clean up the mess because that child locks herself into the bathroom while cleaning up the mess because she knows that if she gets to her now, she might be successful. That child grows up to be a woman who is afraid to swim, afraid of water because of that drowning example. See, children don't always remember their childhood until certain incidents happen, and then they wake up from the dream that they once had. Now, when we look at the individuals at hand, we have to wonder, is that true? Because what you reap, you sow. What you do unto others always comes back, but it doesn't come back the way that you would think it would come back. The daughter has her grandparents over staying with her one year because the grandparents were not allowed at Joseph Myers Sr., also known as Yusef, a father figure. They were not allowed in his house. They were not accepted as the in-laws to stay in his home. So instead, I lived in Hackensack. My grandparents were welcomed at my house. My father tried to make a big issue talking about, "You're not welcoming your grandparents, the ones that had nothing to do with it." The thing was that they were asking to be at his home. I welcomed them in my house and I had fun and I enjoyed them being in my home. The only problem was I was afraid that with them staying in my home, him having access to my house was going to be a problem. Just as I thought, I went to work. I was teaching in Teaneck at the time, and I was teaching. While teaching, I had to take a break, and I called my grandparents and I asked my grandmother if everything was all right. And she said, "Your father's leaving now." I said, "Leaving? Well, he's not taking you guys?" "No." I said, "Well, where did he come? He just came for a visit?" My grandfather said, "No, he came to get your mail. He came to look through your stuff." Now, how fair is that when I am doing something that you should have done? Your parents are not welcomed in your home, but they come to stay at my house, and now I have to worry about you coming in and invading my privacy, stealing mail that did not belong to you. You know, this type of thing has been happening for years. Everywhere I've moved, my mail has been picked up and gone with him. Now, if I cannot trust a family member in my home, then they cannot be invited into my home, you know? So these things happen, okay? Now let's fast forward. Between them having my mail, I didn't realize what the importance was. The importance was so that he can prove that I live with him, so that he could sign over paperwork. He could own property, businesses behind my back. It would be in my name, but he would be suiting the paperwork, supplying the paperwork to support me, these lies of me being in another company or me owning companies that he's owning, okay? Now, besides that, with him coming on when COVID happened, I was at a hotel. He asked me to help drive for him. So I drove the family around, and he made sure that everyone ate. At the end of that night, he had to go back to a hotel room. I drove him to the hotel room, and he would refuse to let me take the car back. So he said, "Spend the night. There's another bed in there." So I spent the night at the hotel, not thinking it would be a big deal, not realizing that he would wait until I went to sleep to poison me so that I wouldn't be able to move while he attacked me. My pillow was bloodied and everything. These are things that happen in a family, so you say. So Fast forward, my grandmother's birthday party. I did state how I was directed to leave because they were planning on trying to unalive me so that they could take insurance money that they took out on me, on my life, so that they could take the insurance money and they could cry and act as though it were an accident. Okay? Let's talk about other relatives. We have Anna Brown, who beat up my grandmother was 95 at the time when she had a fight with her, okay, and beat my grandmother up, okay. Now, here we go. A relative called and asked that my father come and pick my grandmother up. He picked her up and brought her to New Jersey. In New Jersey, he left the house that she was supposed to be living in a cold house that did not have the proper heating. She stayed there with a cousin and a brother. Now, while staying in this home, there's nobody to care for her. She had to keep calling him to have him come over and take her places, and he would always be too busy to take care of her. When I tried to help, and I tried to get her established in a senior environment where she would have an apartment, the woman told me, she said, only people who could sign over this information for her to be cared for would have to be one of her children. You are her grandchild, so you are not allowed to step in. And she has all these children who are alive. Where are they? They should be coming and speaking on her part. She would have had a nice apartment, and she would not have been having to deal with being cold and being abandoned so often. Okay, so let's go further. Now let's look at another person. My father had a meeting with Joe Ferguson, and on behalf of me, supposedly. He wanted him to date me so that he could control me, and that I would be giving him basically my money and everything that I own, and then they would be able to control the situation at hand. I did not realize at the time all this was going on behind closed doors. Joe Ferguson stole my flash drive, which had all of my information on it. It had my books, it had different songs that I'd written, it had all sorts of information that somehow I did not grant access to. Somehow a lot of things are going on behind the scenes, and this is really disheartening because you think that these people are supposed to love and support you as family members as well as friends, okay? Now, not only did he steal the flash drive that had my transcripts, my driver's license information, all the information that you would send to apply for a position as well as for school. That flash drive had a lot of information on it. Also, he filmed me in a bedroom environment. My father took that video, and also they've been selling it on the black market. When do you have the right, your rights violated? And while these rights are being violated, people are sitting up here laughing because they have signed over information. They've signed over, went and told people that I was crazy, so that they could actually take over my personal information, okay? Inheritances stolen, property stolen, okay? I told you that my vehicle had a square etched in where the driver is supposed to be, and there were certain devices that were used that should not have been used to affect my view, my vision. Shirley Jenkins and my father, Joseph Myers Sr., have been coming together and having meetings in regards to how they were going to have my information compromised. Joe Ferguson and his counterpart went to a few of my jobs, gang stalking me, actually spoke to management at one of my jobs so that I would not be working, okay? They did all of this so that I would be unemployed and have to come to them to ask for money. And by me coming back to them, then they could actually take me out, because I would be, it would be a private situation. Who would know that I came to visit family? And even then, you could take a person out because you are on private property, My grandmother has been mistreated and mistaken, foolishly. and compromised on so many different occasions, okay? And with me coming, like I said, I went south and I decided I was going to help the family become vegans. I did a lot of cooking, cleaning, and helping people out. For some reason, they took that as me being a foolish person, so they took advantage of that. As I said earlier on, growing up, being mistreated, given tea and different items to make me sick, so that I was unable to go to certain events, unable to be able to be out of their sight. My stepmother, she kept on promising me while growing up that she was going to put me on her insurance so that I could get the dental work that I needed done. She would tell me these lies all the time so that I could help her clean up her room or what have you, because she was very depressed at different times, and I thought by helping her, that would be a great thing. Not only would I help her, I'd be helping the family. With every time she left my father, I would be left with more responsibility of helping to take care of the children. And every time she came back, she would turn my younger sister against me. You know, my younger sister, who decided she would not invite me to her wedding nor her baby shower, you know, as children. Again, I was 11 years older than her. I took care of her while growing up. And every time her stepmother returned, she would turn her against me. Now, I prayed for a little sister growing up because I wanted to have someone who I could relate to, because my brothers it was all boys before that. And I thought that that would be a great thing. But having a child growing up with you and having to choose between a sister and a mother, I'm sure that had to be quite a problem for even her, you know. So growing up, we grew up with these issues, me not having my own bed, having to sleep in a chair and put my feet up on the bed because their bed was too small. She traded in the big bed into a smaller bed. And that also goes into my father again, where he did not stand up and speak on anyone's behalf. He just was very passive, allowing so many things to take place. And the one thing my stepmother did try to do, get the counseling that the family needed, him refusing that and embarrassing the family, having people think that everyone else was crazy outside of him. You see, when the problems are not taken care of in your childhood, when you become an adult, it becomes worse. Now, my stepmother convinced my sister she offered to pay for college for me, pay for my graduate degree. She did not offer to pay for my graduate degree. But at the time, we stood there, and she and my sister standing in front of me, almost as though they were intimidating me to say that that was the case. The thing was, if you couldn't help with my dental work, how could you possibly offer to pay for a graduate degree when you did not even have the money to help your youngest son pay for his education? Okay? Here's the problem. The problem is when these stories get told and lies get passed down, it goes right back to me being that little girl in church asking, why is it that when you say that you are going to, what you reap, you sow? When you do bad things, you think that things are not going to come back to the surface. Now we have a whole different individual, Joe Ferguson's counterpart, who decided to come around the family and talk to them about me, saying I was a problem to her. First of all, when I was so-called dating Joe Ferguson, I did not know he was a married man. And he never told me he was married. He wouldn't even answer the question as to how many children he had, because he had lost count on how many children. Somehow someone paid him to have all these doggone children, is what was said. Here's the thing, when you decide you want to date all these women and have all these children, how are you getting away with not paying child support for these children? How are you getting away with all these different things? See, that really not being my business. I never mentioned or made any issues of any of this. But when you decide you want to throw my name in the barrel and say that I do things that I have no business doing, first of all, I would not ever hurt any children. I may have given a child a spanking in the past, but that is about it. I would not ever violate a child, okay? That is the reason why I've chosen to be a teacher, so that I could help improve children's circumstances, so that I could help and improve the lives of the people around me. I've always been the one people called to help, and I've always been the one to help. That's why the family is very upset, because I've decided to disengage myself from being in their presence. Because anytime you go so far as to try to poison me and try to hurt me in any way, and do false reports, then have false reports turned into the police as well as in court, I automatically will definitely take myself out of that unhealthy environment. A cousin decided that she wanted to say something against me as well. When COVID hit, I was calling myself trying to be healthy, so I decided I was going to take sea moss. I also sold sea moss to a few people in regards to helping people. I was making healthy shakes. They were laughing and joking until their counterparts came along and wanted help. She said her boyfriend, Ivan, wanted my help, so I did. I helped him, and I gave him information, and I gave him, no, I am not a doctor, but I did impart information that I know to be true. At the time, I was talking, and I was in communication with Dr. Sebi, so I was receiving the information and forwarding that information to others. I also, like I said, was making the sea moss. However, when we decided that we were no longer going to be in communication, myself and my cousin, I still communicated with her friend Ivan, because he was still purchasing or going to purchase sea moss from me. Somehow that did not happen, and that's fine as well. I just wanted to make sure that the information was imparted. But at no given time would I even try to act as though I wanted or show interest in him outside of business. None of these people have I shown any interest in, because like I said, once I was leaving the South, I moved forward and I tried to heal myself and be healthy, because it seemed as though people were trying to out me in so many different ways, okay? People trying to fix me these special plates of food, number one. People trying to say negative things and saying that I was trying to say anything negative against them. Like I said, when people became a part of my past, I left them there in my past, moving forward, trying to have a healthier livelihood. Under no uncertain terms would I want to participate in a relationship that would be unhealthy, meaning I don't want to have anything to say about you or to you if you do something against me. And I felt like that was the most responsible way of handling these circumstances. However, when people take your records because you lived in an environment with them, and they decide they want to work against you, apply for certain programs, saying that you are unemployable, you're not able to work, so they want to act as though they are your guardian. I'm a grown person, and I don't need anyone to act as a guardian for me, Shirley Jenkins. It's really, really unfortunate to have a whole family to go against one individual, all because they did readings against that individual, and finding out through a reader telling you that I am going to be receiving something, you deciding you want to intercept. Joseph Meyer Sr., Shirley Jenkins decided they wanted to intercept. They also included my younger sister. Identity theft, to act as though that person is me, to go into courtroom. A lot of enviousness took place here. Joe Ferguson, again, decided that he wanted to act as though he were my husband, made sure that paperwork states that we have a child together. I have no children, so I don't have a child with that person. And I have not seen that person for years. I'm going to say it again. I've not seen Joe Ferguson, I haven't even been in proximity of family members, except for the people who are stalking me, coming into my environment, okay, including Joe Ferguson's counterpart, following me and speaking to people and asking them to act as though they are a friend of mine to gain information. You wonder why it is that people would actually do all this, why they would participate in these types of acts when you have disengaged yourself from their environment whatsoever. I've not had any communication. I've tried to move forward, yet I have been stalked. People have stolen information from me. People have taken paperwork and signed on my behalf. I did not ask for anyone to speak on my part. I don't even have an agent. We have a person out here saying that I am their agent, that they are my agent, that they represent me. No one represents me. I am independent. My work is independent on this channel as well as the other channel that I hold, okay? My podcast has been compromised. A sister decided she wanted to take my podcast ideas, listen to my podcast, and then put them on film. Okay, here we go again. I have disengaged myself from communication from all family members at this point. I have not been in communication with any of them. And somehow my name continues to come up. Somehow false information and allegations have been placed upon my name, okay? Again, I am not in communication with any family members at this point in time. I am independent. Whoever is putting their information out there that I have an agent or that I work with anyone else, I do not. I am trying to be as clear as possible by placing this information out here. I am trying to also, I did not want to put this on my channel. I wanted to make sure that I was being forward thinking and trying to help different people who come to this channel. I did not want this to become personal, but somehow this is exactly what it has come to, okay? I have not signed for anything, so I've not been in any courtrooms or what have you. Somehow it's been told to me that I've signed some paperwork and I've been in a courtroom. I've not been in any courtrooms. Whatever family members have been signing over, they have done that on their own part. You know, a great deal of false allegations have been made against me. And I just want to say again, I am not involved in any of these things. I have been trying to keep my head above water, focus on what I need to focus on, and I have been trying to work. Someone put dirt on my name in my work environment so that I could not work, so that I have to come back here and ask people for things. I've not asked anyone for anything. You know, I have my own friends that I might count on in regards to helping me if I need help. And that's only 2 other individuals. They know who they are. You know, under no uncertain terms am I affiliated with any of these people. So I'm hoping that the right authorities get in touch with me in regards to whoever those individuals are who have told these lies, who have outside. I mean, I know the family members have definitely colluded together to unearth me, as well as to say horrible things in my, about me. Joe Ferguson trying to contact me and communicate with me, trying to be my friend after saying such slanderous things behind my back. I am not involved with anyone in this whole circle, okay? Family members, friends, who these people used to be. Again, I am not involved with any of them, including any old co-workers who decided to slander my name as well. Joe Ferguson also got together all these different women to try to jump me, okay? To try to hurt me. This is another thing, okay? Again, I'm signing off on this. I'm not even going to be communicating on this level, but I wanted to make sure that I put this out here because somebody needs to know that even though this is my channel, Lovely Being You is to support people who are being loving, people who are being supportive of others and not trying to hurt each other or trying to harm people as well. This needs to stop. So what you reap, you sow. Those individuals, everyone who has come against me, you will reap what you have sown, because you have done some very horrible things, and God sees all.